What's poppin'? Welcome to the next episode of Let It Flow. I got a special guest with me, Dallas. What's good, bro?
Nice to meet you.
You too. How you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm feeling great.
All right.
So I feel like I'm gonna jump straight into it. But actually, before we do that, let me ask you this: Where are you from?
I'm from Illinois, Bolingbrook to be exact.
Okay. Let's take a shot real quick. So yeah, bro. I really, I saw the video at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like everybody who saw the video, like there's so many people in the comments who agreed with what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who haven't seen it before you even watch this podcast, go ahead and look up eating babies at the airport or anything like that, Atlanta airport, and it's like you're gonna find the video. But a lot of people seen this video, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like it was definitely inspiring to me
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people were overlooking what was going on. We're going through this crazy time.
Mm-hmm.
The files are dropping.
Mm-hmm.
There's things in there that like are crazy, and people are just overlooking it, going through their lives, acting like it didn't happen, and it's like what's it gonna take for people to wake up? And like, when's the alarm clock gonna go off? Like, when are people gonna realize that, hey, look, this shit is for real? Like, like people were like, oh, conspiracy theories. They had a name for this stuff, but a lot of that shit ended up coming true. So when you went to the airport, let me ask you this: like, what was going through your mind? Like, what brought you to that place where you walked in the airport and that situation happened?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. None of that was planned.
Really?
That was just a normal, flight to Chicago because
Mm.
I was actually traveling back home. So I get in my Uber, get to the airport, uh, get out of my Uber, but I'm not sure if, well, lots of people have AirPods and they know how they work. So I remember getting out of my Uber and I popped in my AirPods, right? And so it played the last thing that I was listening to.
Mm.
And that just happened to be the Sasha Riley tapes. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
No, I'm not.
So Sasha Riley is a military veteran. Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but a former service member who was the first male to come out against these allegations as far as like the trafficking and what's been going on and with our president Donald Trump. And I encourage a lot of people to go listen to that because that's essentially what put me in that thought process. But so I'm going through the airport and I'm listening to these tapes,
Wow.
and so I'm going through TSA, walking to my gate, and there's just a part in those tapes where this guy's detailing his story like pretty graphically, and he's naming names. And so I'm listening to this and I'm walking at the same time and I'm also like observing people, like everyone just going on about their normal life. And it was just a moment of oblivion
Mm.
because I felt like in that very moment I was the only person on earth. Like because I'm sitting here listening to this and I'm seeing people smile, some people, depressed. So imagine the things that you can see in an airport. Um, and then a rage grew in me. This rage I've never felt before. It was almost like I had to throw up, but it was like word vomit. It was like something was inside of me saying, you need to say something. You cannot sit here and allow to remain normal after hearing something like that. And then it also ties into like with me knowing like the Epstein files had just came out, so everyone was already talking about this, but a lot of people don't know who Sasha Riley is. So I'm listening and I just stop dead in the middle of the airport,
Wow.
right in the middle. I just stopped because I felt like in that very moment I couldn't take it anymore. Like I could not just not do anything. I could not be like a bystander anymore. I felt like this is a humanity issue and it needs to be corrected. And it can't be corrected if everyone's just acting like nothing's happening. You know what I'm saying? So it was a moment of just having to collect myself, having to center myself again after hearing something like that. And once I came to, it was just like rapid fire, rapid fire. Everything, how I've been feeling, everything just came out rapid fire.
Wow.
And that's the best way I can explain that. Rapid fire. Just everything.
And this was right after the Epstein files dropped, right?
Correct.
Well, at least the part where they really started detailing stuff that was going on.
Correct. Like it was a moment, it was like a full circle moment for me. Um I felt like uh, I was already kind of like so deep in the Epstein files already,
Right.
and then you have the survivors who are coming out and talking, and majority of them are female.
Mm.
And this was the first time that we've actually heard a male come out about this, and then name names, and then it's
Right.
our president, and then it's like
So he's one of the people who are named in these files in these tapes.
correct, correct.
Mm.
And so just to hear him just detail out how he was involved and how, his father was involved in it, just all of that was just like, you know what, enough's enough.
So to take it back before you went to the airport, like how like what got you into this thought process? Like how long have you been looking into these types of things? Because obviously there was a buildup at
Hmm.
the airport.
Yes.
So like so the people out there can understand like where does this mindset come from? Like let's take it back to there.
It comes from just being lied to
Mm.
over and over and over again by people who we're supposed to look up to, who we're supposed to trust, who we look at on TV and we go, one day I want to be like them. But then when you see something like this come out, do you really want to be like them anymore? And then when they have all the power, and then this is just a slice of the pie, and it connects to everything. And then you start questioning so much more. And then when you grow up, just like our conversation earlier, like for some of us, it starts really young for us to start questioning. Wait a minute, something's not right. But either you might have parents that, oh, don't worry about that, or oh, be quiet, or oh, don't say things like that. People might think you're crazy, or you get conditioned, indoctrined almost to be what society wants. Don't look there, don't look there, keep your head down, go to work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Mhm.
it almost takes the spirit away in a way to grow up in this world and be what they say you're supposed to be. Because one thing we can observe about children is they have the best creativity
Mm.
and imagination. I mean, I can remember being a child and I can remember that broom was a horse and I thought I was going on some great adventures and then you get told, oh, well, you can't think like that as an adult. You
That's
got to
not
let that
real.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not real. And it's like you're taking away what makes us human.
Mm.
And so for me, I feel like since I'm living in a world created by the same people we're finding out that's doing the most horrific things and they've been lying to me this entire time, that kind of puts something inside of a person that, will probably make you scream in the airport.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like,
I mean, that was profound what you said. We've been lied to.
mm-hmm,
Like our whole history could be questioned. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like we could do a whole podcast on the possible alternate histories there is because
yeah,
the history that we're told is missing stuff. It's a lot of things that didn't happen. They say did that went differently. So absolutely. But then we go to hear what's going on now. The people who created this system, because we are programmed by school as a young age. When they put you in school, it's to teach you to be a certain way. Like if you're a really good student, then you're a really good worker.
Mm-hmm.
You're a really good employee. It's the ones who ask the questions that they don't like. You're asking too many questions.
Right.
They just want people to just learn and boom. The only questions they want you to ask is like better understanding, not questioning why.
Mm-hmm.
They hate the why.
Yeah.
Like why? They don't tell you that.
Yeah.
They don't want those types of questions. Like why is it like this? Like are you sure about that? Like is that really how it happened?
Mm-hmm.
They don't like them type of questions in school. So it's like they program us to not ask those types of questions, to accept things at face value. And that's where the programming comes from. And then it's crazy because like your parents become the programmers of the program,
Exactly.
and they don't always mean to. It's not. I'm not saying they're doing the wrong thing, like intention wise, but hey, look, they make sure you go to school. They make sure that you get good grades. They make sure that you are indoctrinated into the system. They make sure you go to college, get you a job. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but then it's just like plugging you into the matrix.
Exactly.
So it's like sometimes as a parent, like that's why this podcast is important right here, is like to tell people like maybe we should stop plugging our kids into the matrix. Maybe we should teach them a way to get out the matrix. I feel like trading stocks. Teach your kids stuff like that. That way they can find a way to get their money and not have to plug into it. And they can find their own way. So I feel like that's kind of one of the answers, is like we need to find a new, like we don't have to conform to their system.
Exactly.
That's a decision. We are all part of it because we conform to it. We are just as wrong. I'm not going to say just as wrong, but if we allow this stuff to keep happening and we don't do anything about it, and then we are part of the problem. We're definitely not part of the answer. If you're not part of the answer, you're part of the problem.
Exactly. And I like I mentioned earlier in our conversation that I'm spiritual. Like but my family heavily religious. I grew up in a religious family, so I was able to get firsthand account and make my decision.
Yeah.
Some people don't even get the experience and go, I'm not touching that, But I was someone who experienced it and realized, no,
Yeah.
something's wrong here, right? So, in a way, like when you say like our parents play a part in it, they do. And it's like one thing I'll take from my experience with Christianity is whether you believe in a God, higher power, whatever, it said you'll be judged based upon what you know, right? So if you're going to be judged based upon what you know, can you imagine how bad it's going to be for some people, right? So if we're all reading these files and we're all indulging in these files, and these files are naming names, even though you get online and people are going to have their opinions about what, it was enough to read for you to understand what's going on. Even though we still got 3 million pages that's not being released, and the 3 million that we did get are heavily redacted,
right?
You still able to formulate a conclusion. Hey, we know what's going on right here. We don't need any more files, really. We really don't.
Right.
Because I strongly believe people got to understand something. What's more horrific than what we already read? What could get more worse than that?
More of those files.
More, but I strongly believe the part that they're keeping away from us is the part that's going to tell us about us. You got to think about it, because we know all what they did.
Yeah.
And they were bold about it.
So what do you think could be about us? Like, give me an example.
Who we are, where we came from, what this whole thing is. Because Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just a sick, twisted, dark man. He was into a lot of things as far as astrology, hell, UFOs.
Had all kinds of scientists and stuff on the island.
Yeah,
all different types of fields.
He had a brain.
Yeah.
He had a brain. Even though he was a horrible man, he had a brain.
Isn't it crazy? Like, you hear so much stuff about this dude. It's like he's into science. He might be doing some kind of cloning. He might be trying to make a whole race of him,
Mm-hmm.
a whole generation of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like all this stuff, and it's like he's on the island. He's blackmailing people. It's like, who is this dude? Like,
Exactly.
god dang. It's like, bro, he gotta be a group of people. I feel like we're being lied to. It can't be one man. He's got to be a whole. Like they're trying to put everything on one man.
Yep.
It's like that's how I feel like. Like there's a bunch of people involved. Their names are redacted, and they're all. Jeffrey Epstein is 5 to 10 people.
You want to know what I learned about the files and the people involved? It's not only everyone that we can consider government, because you got to think of how many administrations we just had. How many administrations came through and recognized these files?
Right.
You know what I mean?
They were there.
You know, so it's like when you look at the files and you realize some of these what shall I call it? So some of these complaints go back to the 90s.
Yeah.
It's like like what?
Right. How?
If it goes back that far, and we've voted in so many people, they all seen it and knew.
Yeah. And
You know
a lot
what I
of them
mean?
were complicit.
And then so from what I learned from the files is governments, Life Touches in there, and Life Touch were the people who took our photos at school.
Right.
Life Touch is in there, FBI's in there because they obviously knew they were the ones who were
Gathering the intel.
exactly. Child Protective Services knew because he was somebody who took these vulnerable girls, because look, if you're in the system, no one really cares about you. You know, but who's the family that's gonna be there for you because you're in the system? That's the whole reason why you're in foster care. You know what I mean? So he knew what he was doing when he would get people who would do anything for $200, take advantage of them. And that's what he did. And considering the fact that a lot of what I've read and how his whole mission was to just blackmail. That's how he operated. Blackmail.
So you think the whole operation was blackmail?
Yeah. That's what it looks like. You know, you got all these people and it's expanding in evilness. Evil. Oh, I'm talking about like pure evil.
Pure evil. It can't get much more evil than that. So I definitely agree with what you said about some of the other half the files could tell them about us, but there's another thing I think could be in there too. What they're actually doing on the island. Because you got to understand, like, they're on the island. They're in the middle of nowhere. Nobody can watch them. Ain't nobody, like, looking through the bushes. Like, you're not going to get on the island. So they can do whatever they want. And I feel like they try to make it seem like, I'm not saying it's not, but it's about the girls but I feel like what it's really about is rituals. I feel like they're on the, and that's what's not being said in the files. But I feel like if we were to get the files that actually talked about it, I would guess that there's some sort of rituals going on, satanic, like who knows? But you know, when you look at the movies and you see the movies, they always talk about they need the innocent virgin child, right, to do the witches who do the magic. They always need that. And it's kind of like when I was watching these movies, they'd be like Disney movies and shit, like some like kid movies. But you're like Hansel and Gretel, all these different ones. You're like what's up with that? Like they're telling you in the movies that for whatever reason that must be something that's needed to do these rituals. And you look in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? Like they're sacrificing children to Moloch, you know, and they're eating the babies. And they're feeding the people the human meat as a ritual. You see, because if they're able to do that, if they're able to feed the people the human meat and they eat it and they know, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause you said something earlier about if you know, and you know you're eating the human meat and then you are partaking in the ritual, you know, and it's giving them power, but it's also keeping us in that. It's hard to get blessed from God when you're doing one of the most evil things in the Bible, where God basically was ready to take everybody out when he found out about these givings to these sacrifices to Moloch, and then feeding the people. It said they're going to feed the people their sons and daughters. You know what I'm saying? And it's like this is a curse that we're being put in.
Yes.
And it's biblical, you know what I'm saying? But it's deep. It's deep. And it's like this been going on. They're feeding us the meat. And it's like the whole so let's get into this. Like in the video at the airport, you said they're eating babies. So let's get into that. Like where did that come from? Where did that thought process come from? What made you say that?
Because I've seen enough evidence to lead me there, to 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 understand that this is going on. Um, when you read those files and they're got code words in there, and then you got FBI saying this is what code word means, and you're able to know. You're like,
Mm.
okay, this is what they mean when they say that. This is what this is talking about. You know what I mean? And then I'm not sure if you're familiar with Frazzle Drip and all that, and the
No, I'm not.
Podesta emails. So this is why I could not stand to fathom to see Hillary and Bill Clinton testify and just lie.
No, that was crazy,
Just
right?
lie.
Lie.
Like you're talking about heinous acts.
Crazy.
And Bill's just
Laughing. They hand him the file. He starts laughing like it's funny. He's like, "Look, we had a good old time that night."
and then did you also see how his lawyers were reacting to
Yeah, they're like, "Give
everything?
me the file." He's like,
Snatching things from him,
"Yeah,"
holding his hand. I'm like
handlers.
I'm like, is anyone seeing what's going on right now?
Right.
Like, and then Hillary, when she gets asked about Frazzle Drip or the Podesta emails, she just chuckling it up, laughing, and then her lawyers flip out. I
Right.
thought you said, first of all, you're here to testify.
Right. Exactly.
You
And,
don't
and
have
what is
when
those
me and
emails?
you go to court, we gotta
Right.
if we dare to say anything when
Right.
we go to court,
Mm-hmm.
we might just get time added. We might get held in contempt.
Exactly.
We might have to pay that extra fine. How
Exactly.
dare you speak when the judge is speaking? But these people are sitting up here testifying, and we see this facade.
Mm.
Nah.
That was crazy.
But
It's like
back
they
to
got away with that.
yes, yeah. So back to the point you asked me about the airport, and I said about the babies is
Yeah.
because I seen the evidence of it.
Yeah.
When Frazzle Drip dropped in the Podesta emails, I don't know if you know who John Podesta is,
Yeah, I do. Mm.
and the Snippy clip. Are you familiar with that?
No, I haven't seen the clip. What is it? So break that down for the people who don't know, including me.
So the Snippy clip is a video. You can't necessarily see what's happening, but you can hear,
Mm.
right? And you know,
It's in the Epstein files.
no, this was released through the John Podesta emails, his laptop, or it was
Oh, okay.
I think it was Anthony Zwiener's laptop.
It got leaks.
Another an official at the time of a different administration, and it involved so many heinous things, and so the Snippy video was just one of those things that was a part of that. And so in that video, you can't see what's going on, but you can hear. It's audio, and the people who are familiar with John Podesta knows he has a distinctive voice, just like Trump. Like no one else, you hear voices in the world, and you be like, oh, you sound like so and so.
Right.
But certain people have a voice that, okay, yeah, you are only
Sure
gonna
voice.
hear it from those people, right? Like Trump, for instance.
Yeah.
You know Trump's voice when you hear it.
Yeah.
You know John Podesta's voice when you hear it.
Mm.
And in that audio, he, I, he's just people can familiarize themselves with that video, and so um, that alone, just to hear things like that, and then some of the images that came out with that,
Mm.
there were images.
Wow.
There were images, and it let me know everything I needed to know.
Mm.
It let me know everything I needed to know.
It's just crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, why would they do something like that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and it's like we would never guess. Like, like 10 years ago when people said something like that, like what you said, no one would believe that, and no one would even oh, you're crazy. Like, but now like people are tuning in and being like, yo, that shit don't sound crazy no more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, a lot of people in the comments were saying that the only person sane in the room was you.
Yeah.
Because you were the only one who was actually reacting to
Mhm.
something of this extreme.
Mhm.
Like, and I agree with them.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what you did, you stood up for something.
Yeah.
And I give you my respect for that.
I
That's
appreciate
what
that.
made me reach out to you.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, he stood up for something.
Mm-hmm.
He stood up for what he believed in.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed the world that if we're gonna just walk away from this and just act like it never happened, we get to war with Iran and we get all these things going on, then it's like nothing's gonna change.
Nope.
Like if you stand for nothing, like what is it? If you stand for nothing,
You'll fall for anything.
you'll fall for anything.
Anything.
And you're showing the world we can't fall for anything.
Mm-hmm.
This war came up. The stock market's doing crazy shit. The oil price is going up, and now it's more expensive to bills. It's like
Gas is out the roof.
gas out the roof. One best way to get someone to you know just lock in and forget about everything is to mess with their money. You mess with their money.
What I call that?
What do you call that?
Suffocation.
They suffocate you.
Because what do people do when they're suffocating? They'll do anything for a breath of air.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what they're doing now. They're suffocating the population because they know time's up. Time is up of the empire. But see, people really need to like inform themselves what that means. You know, it's time to walk away from ego. Ego. That is the strongest thing that people are dealing with right now.
Yes, sir.
Is ego.
Mm-hmm.
Everything on the outer side, yeah, we all know we're going through hell right now.
Yeah.
But until you look in the mirror, nothing will change because if it takes great, good people to look at this and say, this is wrong and I want to change it.
Right.
Anybody else that feels indifferent, I'm sorry, you have no soul.
Mm.
I don't know why you're wasting breath anymore. Because if you don't want to stand up to this, what are you doing? What are you going to say? Because half the people in this country are Christian. What are you going to say when you die? And we all know tomorrow's not promised. And you stand before God, and he looks at you and he said, what'd you do for those kids?
Mm. Damn.
Are you going to go, well, I threw $50 in the offering bucket, Jesus? He's got a bank account. He's getting that money. Because I know that the more money you put it in your church, the bigger it gets. And the fancier the pastor looks. That's all I know. But I don't, unless the Christians want to tell me what bank account Jesus has so I can send a request, you know.
Nah, for real, bro.
But,
I mean, 100%. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how I see it. You know, it's like, no matter what you choose, there's a path to God. Like, you don't have to go the church way, but if you do, hey, that could, if that's what you needed to find God,
you know
hey,
what God is?
respect it. What is God?
God is love.
God is love.
Because love exists in each and every person if they choose to allow it.
Mm.
And if you operate off love, if this world operated off love, it'd be different.
100%.
It'd be different. But we're surrounded by so much evil, and that's what we're finding out. This, like I've been saying, is a morality test. This is for people to be able to see.
God is love.
And that's something that everybody can tap into, you know, because it's in each and every person. It doesn't even matter who you are. You can be Jeffrey Dahmer. But guess what? It took love for him to be able to grow up, right?
Right.
If he didn't have love, he wouldn't have made it. We would have known right out the womb, you know. He had to be able to feel like he loved his parents to be able to raise them, you know, or any, you know what I'm saying? So it's in each and every human being, but you just have to tap into that. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And if you don't tap into that, if you're looking at a person based upon what they're wearing or their skin color or their wealth, then you got it wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're operating from ego and what you've been conditioned to believe. You have to look at a person and you got to be like, you're a human being. I want to have a conversation with you because each and every person is a universe that you can tap into. a different world, a different perspective. And so when I say God is love, it's because everyone possesses it. You just have to tap into it. And we are all from the same place, believe it or not. And that goes into like my spirituality. This world is energy, frequency, and vibrations, right? The reason why you understand what I'm saying is because the vibrations that are coming out of my mouth, you've been trained and you went to school to learn English and what those vibration means. And then when you look at how different tribes and different civilizations spoke in like cliques, it's like, how the hell? Like,
Right.
how am I going to understand that? But they did, right? So back to the spirituality point and God is love, we all just have to stop because we all grew up in the rat race, right? The go get it mentality. Do this, work hard, work hard. But if you just take a moment and stop and think, what the hell am I doing? That's when the universe comes in and go, let me speak to this one. Because they understand now, right?
Mm.
But the way religion works, human sacrifice.
Mm.
Go to church, pay the tithe. Fear or hell, right? Spirituality is waiting for you, right? It's always going to be there. It's always something anybody can tap into, but it comes when you're ready, right? When you get to a point and you're like, all right, it's so much weird shit going on, and I tried this and I tried that and I tried that. Now what? That's when it comes in. Because it understands you've had enough observation and experiences. You've cried, you've screamed, you've been happy, you experienced it all on the spectrum. And it comes in because now it understands it's dealing with the pure soul, right? And
Mm.
that's what I like to label it, someone who's been through the challenges,
Mm.
right? Then that comes in because that's the strongest warrior. That's an informed warrior,
Mm.
right? But society don't want that.
Mm.
Society, matter of fact, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Why are you even saying that? Like, what? Go read a book.
Right.
Go to work.
They don't understand because they only understand people who are in the same programming. So if you're outside of the programming, then people will look at you like, what are they talking about? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? They won't get it or they'll react. But what's crazy is a lot of people, like speaking of your situation at the airport, a lot of people did understand you. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are unplugged. Maybe not the people who were there. Because if I was there, I'd have walked over and been like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, for real. You already talking about it. Epstein files is out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have definitely not one of the people judging you.
Mm-hmm.
You should never judge anybody. You know what
No.
I'm saying? Because nobody is better than the next person.
Mm-hmm.
You judge people, and just to get back to what you were saying, because you said a lot right there. You said you like just to break that down for the people. You said a lot of profound things right there. But I'd say like let's get back to God is love, but then let's just dig into that. God is love, but the only way that no, I agree. That's a good point. I like that. You know what I'm saying? But the only way that you can love anybody is to love yourself.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? But this all ties into ego, so we're gonna tie it all together right here for the people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you have to love yourself first.
Mm-hmm. And before you land your points, that book already told you don't go outside of yourself.
Mm,
Do not go outside of yourself. Everything you need is within,
right.
right here.
No, facts. Exactly. Everybody's always looking outside for the answers when the answers are within. If you love yourself enough, you can make better decisions in life. Like all this stuff going on, the Epstein files, like if you don't love yourself enough, and then all that shit doesn't matter to you. Like the only way that you could care about somebody else, the victims, the other people, the only reason why you would even be able to care about anybody else is if you have enough love for you, and then you could be like, I love myself, but you cannot love yourself too much. because that's where the ego comes in.
Ego slips in.
Ego slips in. You're like, I'm so important. Nobody's important. Or you cut me off. You know what I'm saying? Or you feel like people owe you something. It's like nobody owes you nothing, and people are gonna cut you off. But who are you? You know what I'm saying? You get mad, and that's what I'm learning from life. Because I'm literally on a mission to cut my ego down. Because I used to get mad when people cut me off in traffic and shit. I'd be like, you know what? Who cares? Like, it's not gonna let it ruin my day. But that ego will make you get mad about things. Someone say something to you, get mad. Your ego is too much. You have to love yourself, but you a certain way in have a healthy love. You know, love is not always, you can love your girl and y'all could fight. You know what I'm saying? So it's like love can be different types of love. Like you gotta have a healthy love for yourself, which is an egoless love. Like or you don't need no ego because that makes you do a lot of things that you wouldn't do, if you didn't have it. Now, and just to touch upon like what we can do for the world, like as far as the Epstein files and what's going on, like what the message that you had, at least from my perspective, is the only way you can have compassion for others is if you love yourself enough. The right healthy relationship. You should care about the victims. You should care about what you said. You should care about what's really going on. Like we can't do anything about it. We can't just like the average person can't just be like, well, dang, I want to do something. But it's like what we can do is look into it, see what's going on, and change ourselves because we are complicit if we ignore it. If we ignore this, we are complicit. If we continue to eat meat, like they're telling you right there what's going on. Like you think like they're doing it to us as well. If you continue to make these choices in life and just look the other way, like let them get away with it, don't stand for nothing ever, and then that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And it's like, we're here to tell you right now, hey, look, why don't we stand up and why don't we talk about this shit? Like, as a community, as a world, like, why don't we demand justice?
Yeah.
Why don't we demand change? We are going through a transition right now. We talked about it before, and I absolutely agree when you were saying, and we can get into that too. We are going through a transition in this world. Things are changing.
Yep.
The frequencies are changing.
Yep.
But we have a decision because frequencies, you know what has frequencies? A radio.
Yes.
But guess who has the tuner? Us. We are our own frequency. We can turn the frequency, right? And the more information that we have, if we use it and apply it and change from it, because you can have all the information, but if you don't change them, just like a football player, they can have all the information about what needs to happen, all the plays, but if they don't do anything about it, it's not going to change. It's useless.
Powerless.
It's powerless.
And you know something I don't agree with? People go, information or knowledge is power.
100%.
I'll say 50-50, right? Because you said 100. I'll say 50-50.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is power, but it's powerless if you don't do nothing with it.
100%. Applied knowledge is wisdom. You can have all knowledge in the world, but you're not going to be very wise until you use that. You can't teach nobody nothing because you never experienced it. It's like wisdom is applied knowledge. It's experience of using your knowledge. We can't change anything. So once we learn, that's what I feel like that's so important to talk about is we need to bring awareness.
Right.
Awareness, like that's what we can do. Bring awareness. And whatever that, once there's enough awareness, people start to change. And then we all, like I was saying about the frequencies, like we all can start tuning to a higher frequency. So there's something you said before the podcast when we were talking about frequencies and like dimensions. I want to get back into that because that was definitely interesting because this goes into the transition of the world. Right, because like the way you broke down the first and second and third dimension, I really like that. Like, can you break that down one more time?
So, basically, everything starts, in the imagination. No matter what it is that people want to do, they think. Take a moment just to hear that word, think. They think about it, right? So it's in the imagination. It's up here. It's in the brain, right? And then they go, well, for instance, let me take a construction worker or someone who may be constructing a home. They think about what they want to create, right? And then they put it on paper, right? And when they put it on paper, that's considered second dimensional, right? Second dimension. it could only exist in the planes that it is existing in. It can't come in the third, but it can maybe go in the first. Back to your imagination, back to the creator. You know, that's why you're sitting there thinking about it, and you may take the eraser, and that's not working. And then you may draw it this way, and it may go back to the first dimension a few times. But then when it starts becoming the third dimension is when that builder slash construction worker takes it and starts taking pieces of wood and nails and hammers, and then he's going off the second dimension and what it showed him. So now you have a house, a 3-dimensional house that you can exist in. It's in the third dimension now, right? But the only thing that that human can do as far as dimensions is exist in the 3D dimension. Unless that human decides to take another path. Right?
Right.
And I'm going to get deeper in this because this was the moment for that, obviously. But that human being can't exist in anything higher until he raises his vibration. Right?
Right.
So you'll hear people talk about doing spiritual work or meditating, things of that nature.
Right.
When you realize the government has been studying this stuff, and I'm talking about psychic kids, right?
Right.
And
astral projection,
all that stuff, MK Ultra, all that stuff. When you realize they've been studying this stuff, you look at it differently.
Right. Like you can't say it's not real.
Exactly.
Why would they study it? Who's going to spend money? Are you going to spend money on stuff that ain't real? Billions of dollars? Trillions. Like nobody's doing that.
That's when we're going into like black budget, black funded projects.
Right.
Projects that are funded that Congress approves and has no idea where it's going. And then this is why we'll hear the Pentagon failed its audit for the 300 million billion fucking time.
Exactly. And they can't
explain it. You mean to tell me you're running a government and you don't know where your money's going?
Right. You don't even have an accurate budget.
It's ludicrous, and people vote for this stuff.
No, I mean, you said it like earlier, like well, we can get into that too, but earlier you said that like, you know, it doesn't matter who's in charge. They kept overlooking these files.
Yeah.
So obviously there's some sort of like they're all kind of working together.
Correct.
I feel like they're all working together always. I feel like there is no political party. We can, that's just my belief. But even if you don't believe that, you got to at least agree that there's something questionable going on between these.
Those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it.
Exactly.
So if you don't know the history, you're going to be repeating. And what did they do back then to arouse the public, to amuse the public? Put it on a show. Exactly. Coliseums.
Yeah. The presidential election itself. Big old show. It makes you feel like you have a say-so. Like, oh, if I vote for him, he's going to stop the wars, right? That's what he said. He said, man, when I get up in there, Ukraine gonna be stopped, and that Israel, that's over with. We gonna have peace in like 48 hours. Next thing you know, we up in here bombing everybody. It's like, oh wow, that didn't go right. And but that's how it always goes.
And see, we're at a point now, and I'm glad you brought that up because we're at a point now that is serious, and it's not even a laughing matter because this man knows who he is. And I read the files. And those of you who don't have my Facebook, it's DG space UFF. And I dissect a lot of things. I read the files to where even Jeffrey Epstein considered Trump a psychopath.
Oh, wow.
You had a horrific man come out and say, this man is crazy.
I mean, and honestly, in my opinion, you can say
And
it
and
almost about any president.
and it goes further than that. He calls him a rat. He's like, if you corner this rat,
Hmm.
he's going to do X, Y, and Z. And people can go and read it, what I'm referring to. Epstein files are out. So you can
Wow.
read what I'm
Yeah,
talking
you
about.
can search it.
And so he's like, and if he ever gets cornered, he's taking everybody down. We have a president who just cut off all United States allies.
Nobody's agreeing to join this war at all. They're all saying no.
And they all said no.
All of them. They're trying to get him to come out to
And
the
see,
next
there
debate.
and the thing people aren't thinking about is we just had another. This was on my way here
Oh wow.
because I keep up with it.
Mm-hmm.
We just had another global superpower enter the chat.
Who's that?
China,
No way. Officially.
officially. And they said, we're gonna, our sovereignty is to the Iranian people. And not only will we protect them, but our soldiers are at their need.
That's a lot
China.
of soldiers. They got more soldiers than anybody.
Now you got to think about the allies that pulled out. We have nobody that's gonna. And then you got to think about those files, what Jeffrey said.
Yeah.
Then you got to think about who's in office. And then you got to think about also, too, who just quit.
Who quit?
The National Director of Counterterrorism
Really?
of the United States. Yep.
I wonder why. He doesn't want to be a
He
part.
put out a letter
Mm.
and he's laid it out.
Dang.
And he said, I cannot be a part of the fact that you went in this attacking Iran for no reason.
For
And
no
that's just
reason.
putting it lightly.
For no reason.
For no reason.
They're really
All
just-
because Benjamin Netanyahu said to do so?
Exactly. Who is he to us? Why does he matter?
Well, first off, why are we fighting for another foreign country?
Ever.
And that's what people are just not getting.
At
And
all.
not only did America intervene, but wait a minute. This is not a shocker to me because it's our history.
Mm.
Why do we have 70 million fucking military bases around the world, but nobody has a military base in America?
Mm. Very true.
We're the bad guys. We're the bad guys. Holy shit. Oh my God. We did not only put military bases everywhere, we tried to spread Christianity everywhere.
Mm. We did.
We are about to divide and conquer, invade. If you don't do what we say, we're coming to take that shit over.
For real. You got.
And then you got
need that gas. We're coming for it.
And then you got some people, yeah, all about it. Soulless people, warmongering people.
Mm. Wow. As the norm. That's
And
the
they
norm.
claim in the biggest care, they claim to be Christians.
Mm. People of God.
And what did the God tell you? What is the consequence of taking human life?
Mm. So they take action.
And that's to all my active military members. Before you ever sign up, and that's one thing I can agree with Candace Owens on,
What's that?
is when she said, military members, find a way to get home. Don't go fight. Do not fight a war on behalf of satanic pedophiles.
Mm.
She labeled that out.
Wow.
I've never agreed with Candace Owens, but I'll agree with you when you're right.
Yeah, of course.
I don't care who you are.
Right.
And when I understood that, I'm like, it's so deep, man.
It really
And
is.
it's like a deer in the headlights. If people have never chose to look into something like this, you're going to be blinded.
Mm.
It's going to frighten you to the point you're going to go back to acting normal. Because guess what? Acting normal is where peace and everything was at.
Ignorance
And
is
I
bliss.
could, ignorance is bliss. I could
That's
just
it.
chill on the couch and eat some chips.
Yeah.
I could play the video game all day. I ain't got to think about that. But
Right.
guess what? Every day you ignore, them flames get closer and closer and closer until you're consumed.
Man, what you said is crazy. Like we entered a war upon somebody else's situation that had nothing to do with us. Like we didn't have to do that. We were already funding the war. We already funded multiple wars. We joined the war thinking that people were going to join with us. Nobody's joining. Nobody's joining. Them other countries are just like, nah. And you saying China entering that? Man, that's tough. Because between Russia, China, Iran, and Korea, North Korea, we can't beat them, bro. Like,
And then, excuse me, when all of our allies pulled out,
right.
I want people to Google when's the last time America won a war without any help.
We lost several wars. We lost Vietnam War. We lost in Korea. We didn't win. It's like when we go, and these are countries. That's just one of these people. We're trying to go against all of them. Like China alone. Like we have to understand, these people are trying to put out their currency to break. Okay, if they can weaken us now and take us down, they can take control.
Yep.
We've been in control of the whole entire world. Like you said it. You said we're the bad guys. We have bases everywhere, but none of them do. China don't.
Yep.
Russia don't. Iran definitely don't. Like they got bases, but they ain't like us. Like we're everywhere. We run the world. We go to war to put our banks into their to control their money. Our Federal Reserve banks will be the backing of every bank. And you know who doesn't have that? Iran.
And guess what? Guess what was one of the locations that they said they were attacking?
What's it?
Military bases and banks. Anything over there in the Middle East. Anything U.S. Anything. Get rid of it. And then back to when you said about the currency. When they let the first ship through, guess how that ship paid? In Chinese yen. Chinese manyan.
Mm,
No more American dollar.
yeah. For oil.
So this president has a problem on his hands.
Oh, so you're saying when they started letting the other countries bring the oil through, they had to buy it in China's money. Ooh, see, they're not talking about that. They're not talking about that in the news. That's a very.
They fucked the whole board game up.
They flipped the whole table over.
Look, I got a famous saying of Iran's playing chess and Trump's playing fucking Mancala.
100%.
This is a business bankrupt pedophile narcissist lunatic dementia man who just referred to Gavin Newsom as the president of the United States.
I heard that. I seen that. That's insane. Like, what are you saying, bro?
Like, what the? Like, it's so strange right now.
It's so crazy. It's like we're in another dimension. It's like we're in the fourth dimension. We're in an alternate dimension.
Yeah.
Like, the shit that's going on, like, I would never have imagined.
CERN.
I mean, I'm definitely on this. Like, they launched up CERN in what 2000, what, multiple times in our lifetime. I have to look, I have all the dates written down. But every time they turn CERN on, something changes in the world. Something changes. Like
I was just watching a video on it last night, and it was going as far as saying the Mandela effect. And
I was just about to say that the Mandela effect. Because why? Because let me look it up right now so I can just.
Mm-hmm.
When did they turn CERN on? Okay, so in 08, 98. It was built in 98. Like
then look at that. You said 98. What follow? Y2K.
Exactly. Y2K comes. The first time, the first beams were in 08. The first collisions were in '09. Okay, so we have '09. Boom. We had the 2012
Mm-hmm.
situation a couple
Mm-hmm.
years later, right? And it's like not only that, it's like they launched it up again in the 2022. But originally, when these Mandela effects came out, was in like 2009 when they found out about Nelson Mandela. Me personally, I remember him dying when I was a little kid,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people. And so that was the thing. A lot of people remembered Mandela dying,
Mm-hmm.
but they say he never died. They say that he lived on and he ended up being like the president of, and it's like, but that's not the way a lot of people remember. But it's not just that, bro. There's a whole bunch of. Like, do you believe in the Mandela effect?
Yeah. I was watching a video, like I said last night, when they were saying like the Monopoly guy, the
Yeah,
Monopoly
he
game.
had a monocle, bro.
Yeah, and that's all I remember. Then they're saying no, he didn't. And then even with the Berenstein Bears, and it goes on with
Bro,
more.
listen, the Berenstein Bears. I don't care what you say. Okay, you just said it. You said the Berenstein Bears, right? Who the hell says the Berenstain Bears? Like, nobody said the Berenstain Bears. We all said the Berenstein Bears, the Berenstein Bears. Nobody said the Berenstain Bears. But here's the thing. And here's the thing that starts to make you wonder, though, about CERN, or whatever it is. If you find an old Berenstein Bears book, and you know what? I challenge the people out there. I want to see if you have an old Berenstein Bears book, how is it spelled? Because, like, even Joe Rogan said that, like, he thinks he was a government op.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, bro, the only thing is like the old books changed. If you have a Monopoly board, you go on Amazon right now, you look up Monopoly board from the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
There's no monocle.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that he had a monocle.
Yes.
So it's like the original pieces are not the same.
Yep.
So I want someone to go and show me some pictures of their old Monopoly boards. If it's a 1980, 60, whatever Monopoly board and it has no monocle, you got to start wondering how.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't a video on the internet. I'm talking about your physical 3D property. Like, that shit changed, and that shit gotta have an explanation beyond a government side. And if it is a government side, it's a complicated one. It's called CERN. It's called the Large Hadron Collider. If we're
Exactly.
if it is a government side,
Exactly.
it's not just like, oh, they changed things on Google and now you look it up. It's different.
And that video went as far as to say when they were turning on this collider, and it was only for a fraction of a second when they would get the results. It wasn't like they get the results and the results are steady coming through and da-da-da-da. No, it was for a fraction of a second, right? So they were opening black holes for a fraction of a second. They were recording what they can do, but they only had a certain amount of time to have that exist and have that open. But what they did say is what they could do with that is they can send things through and they can bring things in from different dimensions, creatures, anything, right? With the whole thing about the dimensions in CERN is how they can open them for just a fraction of the time, but they were able to explain what they could do with that, right? Send things through, take things out from different dimensions, creatures, whatever, and people watch Stranger Things. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, oh yeah. That's
People watch that like that's,
not a documentary.
CGI.
Yeah.
And you got to sit here and think, where'd that idea come from? You really think people around here will be like, oh, let me create this? No different than the technology. You really think somebody woke up and had all the fucking blueprints to an iPhone? No.
Right.
No one wakes up and goes, let me construct an iPhone. No one had that idea. It came from something. The technology came from somewhere.
Right. And then people are like, it's simple to say it could have came from Roswell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A variation of what they found in there or anything. Another source of.
And I strongly believe it came from Roswell.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you got to look at that time and what the technology was around, what it was, 1948, 1947.
Exactly. Like, we were flying planes that barely could go up in the air. The Wright brothers, like 30 years before that. And then we go from that to going to the moon, 50 years later?
The technology was like this, and choo.
Exactly. Crazy.
How?
How? But you all had how many thousands of years to do it? Like 30, 50, 100, 200,
And
300
and and
thousand
that's
years?
and that's another thing that's explosive blow. That's what I call it now. Explosive blows because there's too many. You people go, we should be on this, we should be on that. No, 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 no. Just say it's an explosive blow because we have lots of them. We have minor things and then we have explosive blows, but there's a lot of them. Epstein file, explosive blow.
Explosive blow.
UFOs, explosive blow.
And all the disclosure.
Because when people realize how those things are flying, right? Free energy, right?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You have something that's manipulating. You got to understand this for a second. Manipulating gravity,
Mm.
right? We have nothing that can manipulate gravity, right? I'm talking about something that can replicate when you go into space, right? How those UFOs are flying, they're manipulating and distorting gravity, right? So imagine if I had a bowling ball. Now picture a bed, right? Now place the bowling ball in the center of the bed. You see an indentation, right? And where the bowling ball sits. Now, if I place my hand in front of the bowling ball, right, it's gonna do what? Roll towards my hand, right? I'm putting an indentation in front, and that's essentially how the UFOs are flying.
Mm. I see what you're saying.
No gas, no anything. It's distorting the gravity in front of it. That's why it creates that momentum. That's why it's
Mm.
going 50,000 miles per hour. That's why it can drop from 80,000 feet to sea level in seconds because
Right.
it's manipulating the gravity, right?
Mm.
But if you can't understand how gravity is manipulated, then you're not going to understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And how what it's doing, it's causing momentum that's not there, right?
Right.
And all we know is uh piston engines, put some fuel in it and some
Combustion
oil in it,
engines.
burn it, and hit the
Mhm.
gas pedal, and something exhaust
And
comes out the
even
back.
with a rocket, it's the same type of
Exhaust,
technology. It's just a
exhaust,
bigger version, bigger engine.
exhaust. Burn
Yeah.
something, and exhaust comes out that
Right.
propels.
So what's your thoughts on the UFOs? Like, they're disclosing it. There's a lot of information being put out by the government, but where do you think they're coming from?
When you look up at night and you see all those stars, right? What do you think you're looking at? And they'll tell you they're stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. What you're looking at is people looking back at you.
Right.
They're looking back as you look at them.
Mm.
But see, they learned to stay the fuck away from Earth. You
Right.
want to know why? Because Earth ain't wrapped too tight. Earth, I'm sure you've seen the memes and people talk. Earth is the ghetto. The aliens probably fly past and lock their doors, which they do. Which they do. Because you got to understand when Roswell took place and why it happened. Because them fucking dumbass humans lit a nuke.
100%.
What the hell are y'all
Right
doing?
near there.
What are y'all doing? Y'all just lit a nuke. What the hell?
Because it's Roswell, New Mexico, and they were doing tests on nukes within 100 miles or 200 miles, like right there in New Mexico.
People need to understand a nuke doesn't just affect Earth and blow up and make a mushroom cloud.
Mm.
It ripples out into space,
Wow.
time, and dimension where those other civilizations live, where those other civilizations are using to travel. It fucks up so they're going, wait a minute, y'all just saw that planet just do that? Hold on, we need to go investigate that.
I have a friend of mine who he works for NASA, and I was talking about this exact topic. And he said, "Well, but you just explained it. You even went deeper into it. But what he was saying is like when we launch off a nuke, it's basically like putting on a radar. They're recognizing that from far, far, far away. Like, and it could be affecting their very travel. Like, they could be existing on this plane in a different 4 or 5D dimension. Like, who knows? But they're doing things that are affecting other beings, right? And they're getting it. It's like a little on their radar, a little blip. They're like, hey, what the hell are they doing over here? They go to pull up, and it's like, but why would they crash? Like what would?
Because they pulled up and they knew and they saw who was here.
Mm.
Who
So they weren't
had
aware.
this planet? Who decided to come here to this flourishing, lively planet?
Mm.
And that goes into the Epstein files of
Wow.
consuming humans. Because me and you can't consume a human. It's just, I mean, if we wanted to, we could
Jeffrey
have a body
Dahmer or
right
something.
here and try to consume it.
Right.
But guess what's going to happen? You're going to catch Kuru.
Yeah.
It's a ritual cannibalism.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
Yeah. It deteriorates your brain.
So then you got to ask, how did these people do it for years?
Mm.
How did they do that to babies for all this time? That's the biggest kicker.
So you think they're not human?
No,
What do you think
never
they're?
have been. Reptilian.
Reptilian.
Reptilian. What's going to consume meat like that?
Right.
Especially people.
You know, I saw a video or some. I think it was a clip. I forget what it was, and it was like Ellen. That somebody like there was a young star who saw Ellen eat a whole chicken, Like I definitely see. I feel like a lot of people think that we're being told that there's nothing outside of here. There's no aliens. There's no other life outside of here. Because if we don't ask those questions, then we won't find those answers.
Why do you think every time a UFO pops up, a government says swamp gas?
Exactly.
Or
What about the orbs?
better yet, we shot it down.
You think we shot the one down in Roswell?
Oh, we shoot them down all the time.
Oh, shot it down.
We shoot them down all the time
Mm.
because these civilizations are monitoring.
Mm.
They are. Why you think ain't nobody lit a nuke off in how many years? They're going to war, but they ain't nobody sending nukes.
Oh.
Ain't nobody sending.
They were warned.
That Galactic Federation said, you light another nuke, that's when we're going to intervene.
Mm.
And guess what? I mean, America was lighting nukes off, and they couldn't control their trigger finger when they was testing them one after another. Boom, 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 boom.
And then Roswell occurred. Mm.
And guess what? Not another country lit a nuke.
Never.
Wait a minute. Iran was accused of what? We got to stop them because they're making nuclear weapons.
Right.
We got to stop them, right?
Yeah. They're the
creating
bad
nuclear-
guys. Yeah.
We're there. Oh, shit. Everybody's being armed. They're creating nuclear weapons. But guess what? Now, as we fast forward, Israel might light a nuclear weapon to Iran. But guess what? It'll never happen. Because a lot of people who are going to watch this already know that UFOs shut down missile silos.
They do. They do.
It's already been testified in Congress
Yeah.
that that's what they're doing.
Yeah. They're not gonna let it happen.
They're not going to.
So that's such
And this
a
is
good point.
this goes toward the people who think it's the end of the world. No. It's not the end of the world. It's the
100%.
end of their system.
It's the end of this world. This world right here is ending.
It's over with.
But you have to choose a side.
Right? Good or evil.
Good or evil.
That's all it is.
And if you like we said earlier, if you decide to ignore this and act like it ain't going on and make no change within yourself, and then that's evil.
Yeah.
Okay. The good side is where you make a change. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I made a video the other day. I was like, this: if you're gonna find God, if there's ever a time to find God, it's every day, but it should be right now.
Right now.
And you know, God isn't like white Jesus or but
Mm-hmm.
if that's your version, hey, that's fine. But I'm not saying one specific thing. Like I'm talking about God. I'm talking about love. Where, like you said, God is love. I'm talking about loving the world, loving yourself, loving the Creator of us, because we
Right.
didn't just show up here.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't just we were we were created. And if you think that we just showed up here by chance, maybe. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I feel like we were created by a creator. And
Right.
that's somebody who, wants to see us be the best version of ourselves. And he wants to see us change. And if you don't want to, if you want to be a part of this new world,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to be a part of what's about to come,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to make a choice.
Yep. And that goes into when I told you, like, before we started, that I was going to get into something. And this is what
Yeah.
I'm going to get into as far as when I thought that I was told I was going to lead, but didn't necessarily know what I was going to lead. Unlike most people, I can recall my first memory.
Well. Let's. So you told me before the podcast
Yeah.
you felt like in your life
Hmm.
something told you a feeling that you feel like you was gonna have a position of leadership. All right,
Yeah.
just for the people to understand. All right.
Right. Right. Yep. And that was given to me at a very young age.
Mm,
Right. I can recall my first memory, and it happened at 5. And I say this specifically because how it started for me, right, is all of a sudden it was just dark. And then I saw the earth, right? And then the earth got closer. And then I saw the United States. And then I saw the outline of Illinois. And then I saw Bolingbrook, the city that I told you I grew up in. And then I saw a cul-de-sac. And then I saw a child walking across that cul-de-sac. And then I don't know if you've ever had something hit you really hard in the head or in the face or the eye where it's like a flash of white light or
yeah.
you hear the ringing in your ear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had third person when I was just describing all of what I said. I saw the earth, I saw the United States, I saw the outline of Illinois, and I saw the cul-de-sac. That was third person to me. Even when seeing that child cross that street, that was all third person. And then I became first person. And then I was that child crossing the street. And I remember when I came into that body, I looked at my hands and I looked up at the sky, and it was like someone took a pencil and made a perfect circle, right? And inside that circle was completely black. Outside that circle was the sky. And as I'm looking up and I'm seeing this, then that dark circle just starts, goes. Like what I've been hearing about UFO, it's gone. Gone. Now that I remembered everything that body experienced since birth to 5, I now had access to. It was almost like a download. It was almost like, okay, this is where you live. This is your mother. This is your dad. This is the area. This is everything you need to know to continue and not act like you about to go crazy because you don't know where the hell you are, right? You're now on Earth. So I went through life normal. But that same very night, me, my brother, and my sister, we shared a room, but we had bunk beds, right? And me and my brother, we slept on the bottom bunk, and my sister slept on the top bunk. And that same night, because mind you, this was during the day when I had all of that and came into the body and all that. That same night, I remember I got me and my brother. We used to argue all the time. He slept at the end of the bed, and I slept at the other end of the bed. So his feet is like here, then my feet are down there with him, and sometimes his feet will hit me, and I'm like, move your fucking feet, like we will fight over the blanket, shit like that. And this particular night, I woke up, right, and the only thing that was illuminating the room was the moonlight coming through the window, and I looked into we had an open closet. It's like I wouldn't consider like walk-in, but it had depth to it, right? And I remember trying to go back to sleep, and sometimes when you're trying to fall asleep, you might crack your eyes back open for the one time, and that's what I did. And when I did that, I noticed eyes in the closet, right?
Mm,
And the best way I can describe the type of eyes that I was seeing, have you ever seen The Grinch?
mm-hmm.
And his eyes had like greenish, orangish, yellow in there. Now remove the pupil, right? And that's what the color of the eyes were, but they were illuminated.
Wow.
That's how I can see them. It was illuminated, 2 pairs of eyes. And at a young age, I was already fascinated with horror films. So like one thing that it taught me was when you see something, don't take your eyes off of it, because then it's gone, right?
Right.
So I stared and I stared and I stared. So finally, I reached over and I grabbed my brother's leg and I'm trying to wake him up. And he wakes up But he's mad at me. He's like, "Why are you like bothering?" He thinks I'm bothering him.
Yeah.
I said, "Do you see that in the closet?" And it was like a little brief pause, and he goes, "Yeah, I see it." And at that point, that's when I got scared.
Mm.
Because before, when I observed it on my own, I wasn't scared. I was just looking at it, like, you know what I'm saying? But the confirmation of another person,
Right.
that's what put fear in me.
Mm.
That's what told me this is happening.
This is real.
This is real.
Mm.
So me and him were like secretly like trying to coordinate with each other. And mind you, we're on bunk beds, so the way bunk beds work that holds up the higher tier is bars, and then the mattress is on top of it. So in between those bars is the mattress. So we're kicking my sister, trying to wake her up, right? And finally she wakes up. She's mad too, because you know we're brother and sister. We always play fucking pranks on each other, shit like that. And finally she wakes up and she's like, "What are y'all doing?" She's like, "We both look. Do you see that in the closet?" And you hear a pause, and then you hear like what someone shuffling in the bed, turning over to see, and it went silent again. And she goes, "Yes." And I remember it was like fear that ran over me. We all just kind of like pulled the blankets over us and went to sleep, ignored it. But it wasn't until years later, I want to say probably like 2 years ago, we recite this and we go, "Yeah, that happened.
Wow.
That happened." But as a kid, seeing that, and then growing up and seeing things and dealing with sleep paralysis and shit like that, and like being able to wake up and then can't control your body, or seeing things and beyond the veil, stuff like that, it was all meant for a reason. It
So,
was.
let me take you back to when you said like coming into your body.
Mhm.
You said that like what did you mean by that? Was that like a like break that down a little bit more so I can understand.
From what I've gathered now, like I'm older,
Mm.
I knew that I was coming from somewhere to come to another place to do a certain thing.
At what age? Like, do you feel like reincarnation? You feel like, or was this something that happened after you were already born in this world?
I don't feel like it was reincarnation. I feel like it was more towards that I am this energy, and now I'm moving into this vessel,
Hmm.
right?
And was the vessel? How old was the vessel when that was?
5.
5 years old.
5.
Mm.
And I moved into it, and the experiences that I had was basically, because what I put together was basically telling me, hey, you have to remember. And this is why we're going to show you these things through your life, because it's going to lead you back to remembering.
Oh, so somebody was telling you about this.
No, 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 no. I'm talking about the experiences that I had as far as seeing the eyes, and then as a child witnessing like ghosts and shit like that, and just seeing certain things. It it gotten to a point to where now, as a 26-year-old, I now know the reason why I was seeing those things, because it was always going to lead me back to question truth, get back to what's real and what we need to put to a side, because we all are existing in a world that we do not know. The only thing you know
Is what
is
they
your
told us.
family and work.
That's
Outside of that, you just go out in society and you're just like, hey, I have to behave and act like a cordial adult because I want to go get this Dunkin' Donuts, or I want to go to this restaurant with my family.
or
But
gotta
at
pay the
any
rent.
moment, we all could just snap. At any moment, anybody can do anything. Free will, but it's conditioned and stuff like that. But back to the point where I was talking about, as far as like recognizing that I knew I came from somewhere to do something to this place. I knew I had a mission to complete,
Have you figured out the mission?
of course.
Nice.
And it was to get people to realize what we're living in, right?
What
And
this world really is.
what the world really is. Because once people understand what it is, they can change it.
How long ago did you make that realization?
I want to say recently.
Recently.
Recently, and I want to put it maybe about a year. because I had to still decipher everything. I had to reflect.
Yeah.
Most people don't reflect on their life,
No.
especially not a 26-year-old.
I mean, right here, we don't have time to reflect because we're distracted. Phones, TV, Netflix, drama, you know, whatever's going on in the news. We're so distracted that we can't reflect. How
Exactly.
often do we just sit there and think?
Yeah.
The only way you can reflect on something or move like under comprehend full
Jail. No, I'm
comprehension,
just
yeah,
playing.
boy, yeah, jail. And we're gonna get into that too as well because people are wondering about what happened after
Mm-hmm.
the situation. But man, we just got so deep, bro. We just got so deep. It's like people don't never take a moment
Mm-hmm.
to just think.
Yep.
Like meditation
Yep.
is a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I do got a question for you about. So I know the situation happened at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
What happened afterwards? A lot of people wonder, like, what happened after it?
So what it led to obviously was that day I got arrested twice.
You got arrested twice.
Twice, yes. So in the initial film, like what the world saw, and the police came and got me. Before then, I had dialogue with them, so I was talking with them. They were pretty cool, and they were pretty much like, "Oh, we gotta remove you," da da da. And I was like, "Well, someone like me who knows law and stuff." I was like, "Well, why do I have to be removed? Because I'm exercising my First Amendment. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to have a volume control. I can say what I want." And so they were like, "Well, you're disturbing and da 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 da. People are uncomfortable." Well, that's the whole point of the message, is to get people uncomfortable, because what we're talking about here is uncomfortable.
Right.
So I achieved what I needed
And
to
freedom
do.
of speech, right?
Exactly, that
Yeah.
too. And so they're like, "We just, how cops are, we just got it." So they, because obviously in the film you can see people, security, like,
Now I heard that. I heard
yeah,
that. Yeah.
So what the police have to do is they have to satisfy what? The public. So if we put this guy in cuffs, they're gonna think we did our jobs.
Mm.
But they didn't realize when we let this guy outside, we took him out and he said he's free to go.
Mm.
Right? But I wasn't done talking. I
Yeah.
still had a message that I
Yeah.
had to get across.
Yeah.
And then I looked at my clock and I realized these motherfuckers made me live my flight.
Mm.
So now my message is granted. So I'm going back in there and I'm gonna complete what I gotta say. I did that, arrested me again, and that's how I landed in jail.
Mm.
But see, the thing is, two things I knew. One, when you go into an airport, what do you see when you about to enter a bathroom, or you got child trafficking signs everywhere?
So look, the camera just cut off.
Mhm.
We were getting deep into the airport. Well, let's look. We can finish that real quick. So you got arrested.
Mhm.
You got arrested. Like, how long were you in jail for?
12 days.
12 days. 12 days.
I was incarcerated for 12 days.
So you're going viral.
Yep.
On Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere, and you're in jail.
Yep.
Do you know you're viral?
No.
You don't even know you're viral.
Matter of fact, when I got my first phone call and I called my family, they said, "We know because we've seen you viral," and I didn't know any of that.
That is insane that
Yeah.
you're going viral and you don't even know, in jail.
Nope.
And you're standing for something. So that's what I want to get into.
It was so viral to the point, I believe it was getting closer to about like 5 days of my release. I had about 3 correctional officers, because they give breakfast around like 5:30. Well, you probably don't know.
I've been
But
in jail. I know.
well, they give breakfast around 5:30, then noon comes lunch, and then dinner's around 5.
Mhm.
So when they give breakfast this particular day, I got like 3 correctional officers at my cell door, and that's unnormal. Usually it's 1. And when they unlock the door, they're all sitting there smiling. And I'm like, that's a little unstartling at first, but one of them goes, "You know you're viral, right?" "Yeah." She goes, "You know you're viral." And I was like, at first I was like, I didn't know if I want to necessarily engage, but I was like, my family mentioned it. Thank you. Play it cool. My family mentioned it. That's all. And she's like, "No, I can show." She's pulling out her phone. She's like, "I can show you, but I'm not supposed to like show you. There's cameras watching. I was like, "It's okay, because if I'm viral, I know I'm getting out. I'll see it. It's cool." She's like, "Even rappers are talking about you." She's like, "The Atlanta Raptor." I was like, "That's fine." Like internally, I'm going, "Really?"
Mm.
But right now, I'm going, yeah, I don't trust y'all. That's cool,
Right.
Um, so yeah, that was that, and yeah, I spent 12 days incarcerated. From that day on, when those correctional officers met me at the door and they knew who I was, it was a pleasant experience after that. I was getting double meals. They were accommodating me. Didn't feel like, jail after that, but it was good on after
Wow.
that. I was getting my own private cell, didn't have to have, a cellmate, shower when I want to, so it was good. Um,
Nice.
Now don't dox them. They did a good job. But it was nice. But that was that experience.
Man, that is crazy. Being in jail and not even realizing you're out. So you get out of jail and you realize like, yo, there's a lot
Yo.
going on. There's like you were on Joe Rogan's podcast and earlier like we talked about it for the podcast. That was one of the inspirations that I had to start this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching that random episode, and me and you were already talking about doing this podcast. We already communicated.
Right.
And I see you're on Joe Rogan. I'm like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
When I got my property back, because, they confiscate everything, and I turned my phone on in the police station, it tweaked out. I've never seen an iPhone do something like that before. It was tweaking out so bad that I was restarting my phone like over and over and over again because it was just blowing up, ding, ding, ding. And so I'm like, number one, I've never dealt with something like that. Number two, I was able to fully grasp like what people
How
were
big it
talking
is.
about, like how it spread it, how it went. When my family told me it was viral, I'm just thinking, oh, maybe like, a couple thousand people maybe.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was able to see it for myself. It wasn't only viral, it was on Instagram, it was on X, Twitter, it was on TikTok, it was on Facebook, it was everywhere. And so as I'm seeing all of this, mind you, somebody coming out incarcerated who had no access to anything, all I had was 4 walls.
Wow.
And a mirror and a little light. I didn't even know what time it was. So as someone who's coming out to this, I'm going, what the hell's going on? Like,
That's insane, bro.
So at the end of the day, I just decided that maybe I should, lay low for a little bit, because I just rattled half the population, but I knew my work was not complete because there's still more work to do. And
you feel like that was just the beginning of your work.
exactly, because in people reaching out a lot, see, this moment let me see how the population thinks. And most people don't get to see that, This allowed so many inboxes, so many people reaching out. I mean, it was flooded, bro. That's all I can like describe it. Imagine like looking at your inbox, bling bling, and it's just going. It's just going. It's just going. It's just
Never ending.
and
And so how did you end up responding to me out of all the people hitting you up?
honestly, I don't know.
It's crazy. We just ended up right
I
here.
just was going through and I was clicking on certain ones that I could catch, and I came across you, and then I saw your message, and um I kind of sat as we dialogued. I kind of was like, if you didn't know, I was a little hesitant, because it's public pressure I'm dealing with now.
Yeah.
Not saying that like I'm afraid in any type of way, because
yeah.
that's far beyond that.
Yeah.
But it was the fact that I had to let people dissect for a moment. I had to let people live in that airport video and understand and decipher what I was saying, right? And then I was gonna talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Because now it caused a lot of people to do a lot of things they thought they'd never do.
Yeah.
Is research and do things and all that stuff. So now when they're coming to this conversation, they're equipped.
Yeah.
Right.
I get it.
So, without all that being said, Where I feel like what should take place and happen now, and where a lot of people need to focus on going forward.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
From everything that you got to say, so this is your opportunity right now to say to the world, what do you feel like needs to happen? You went in the airport, you said what you got to say. You said, is there nothing in your life that's going on matters, right? You said something like around those lines. Like the Epstein files are out. Nothing matters that's going on in your life. Like, what would you say to the world right now to impact them and make them, change in the way that you feel like the world should change? What would you say?
Every street of the United States needs to be filled until everybody in those files, whether accused or not, like everyone mentioned, needs to be dealt with. Streets, everyone. No one needs to go to work no more. Everyone should stop. Put it down. Everybody. This is a moment to go, wait a minute. What do I stand for? What do I morally stand for? Right? And until each and every individual, company, organization, or entity involved in these files are held accountable, nobody needs to continue anything. This is a stop moment. Money, bills, taxes, all of it. Stop. And you don't have to worry about what's going to happen next. You don't have to worry about anything because you got something called the universe that's watching, and it's going to always make sure you're good. You just got to put your trust in it, right? But you have to morally stop because, like we said, otherwise you're complicit. And I told you I grew up religious, but I'm not religious. But it said, give me a second and clip this part because it's got to come to me.
For sure.
But it said you're going to be judged based upon what you know,
Yeah.
right? So if you know that every day you clock in and that same money gives those same type of people able to do what they're doing, and it also said Satan was going to roam the earth, didn't it?
It did.
Satan was going to roam the earth. But guess what it said? It said when he leaves, he's taking what? People back with him, right? Who you think those people are? Is it going to be the people standing up against this? Or is it going to be the people acting like none of it's happening, but they were aware of it? See, that's what curses you right there. You knew it was happening.
Right.
And you didn't do nothing.
You stood for nothing.
That don't get you into heaven.
Mm.
Right? If you're a Christian, you believe in that, God's greatest creation is children. It's not it's not humans. It's children. Because that's the pure innocence. That's the creation and creator, and that's what resembles the creator the most. Children. And you're now faced with something that's harming that. So what are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
Are you going to remain dormant and just, oh, that's not happening. That's some just bullshit and some files.
That's a conspiracy theory.
Right. Meanwhile, that term was created by the CIA.
To put a label on conspiracy theorists. They got the aluminum.
And I want people to look up that term, conspiracy theory, and the CIA ties and why they decided to.
They don't want nobody thinking outside the box.
Nope.
It is time now. to think outside the box. It is time to question everything. It is time to stand up. Everything you just said, you said that shit so right. If we sit here and pretend like it didn't happen, nothing will change.
No.
We have to stand now or never. Like, we don't know what's about to happen. The world is being flipped upside down. Everything that we thought we knew, we don't know.
Exactly.
Everything that we believed ended up being false, including even religions.
Yep.
The only thing that's true is love. Love is real.
Yep.
You have to love. Are we loving? Are we loving our society? Are we loving the victims? Are we like, these are the children that are being affected? It's not a theory no more. Because a theory is a possibility. Take the conspiracy word out. A theory. Everybody been talking about Pizzagate. Everybody been talking about Epstein. This is not a new thing. We've been talking about Bill Gates. We've been talking about Bill Clinton. These are not new names. We are not, like, we're going to be sitting here. They're testifying in court, and we know that you're involved. We've been new for years. And you think you can lie. These people can't get away with it no more. But if we allow them, they will. We came in here today to talk about it because you had a message. And I was like, come over here and tell your message. You said that we cannot sit dormant no more. We are sleeping. You were the alarm clock, okay? Everybody sleep. In that airport, everybody was asleep. Everybody was living their life, and they're eating babies. You know what they're doing. It's all on the internet. If you don't believe us, if you think we're crazy, if you think that we're talking crazy stuff, well, then go check.
Go check.
Like, we're not just saying something you can't verify.
Justice.gov.
That's it. It's all there. The proof's out there. But what are we going to do about it? That's what I wanted to, this whole podcast to be about, was about what happened to you. What was your message, and what the hell can we do about it? So you said it. We got to stand up. Like, I feel like when it comes to meat, we got to stop eating meat. As a society. Yeah. You said it earlier. They said if we eat too much human meat, we'll get a disease, brain deterioration, right? Diseases, right? But
KURU.
But if you only have 5% in your meat, you can eat it over time, deteriorate your brain, and keep us in this low vibration. And we definitely need to do another episode because I want to get into that vibration. We did talk about transitioning to higher dimensions based on frequency. We did get into a little bit, though. We did. It's time for us to take control of ourselves, our diet. If you want to manifest, you said it before, if you want to manifest, you truly want to manifest, then you can't be having your pineal gland all calcified.
Calcified, yeah, exactly.
You can't be eating human meat. You can't be disconnected from God completely, but thinking that you can manifest. The reason why you think manifesting is fake, because we're not in tune. Our chakras are completely out of tune. Our frequencies are super low. I just said it. You can't manifest in this. You can, but it's like baby steps. You want to manifest for real, then if we want to manifest, if we want to break out of this, first of all, we got to stop eating meat completely.
And that's the problem with Earth. That's the problem with Earth, because manifestation is delayed. But guess what? Remember when I mentioned earlier in conversation when I said people can't fathom the fact that it existed before Earth? That's when manifestation happened at a thought.
Yeah.
So remember I was telling you I was coming in, and that's where everything was what I wanted. And some people can relate to the fact that we existed before and we were sent here on a mission and stuff like that. Yeah. Or you come to Earth for a job or a soul contract, stuff like that. Yeah. And that's the problem with Earth, because manifestations are delayed based on the fact that we're living in a low vibration. The frequencies aren't high enough here. And once those frequencies get high enough, it beams like a light beacon to not only humanity, but those civilizations that live beyond. And those civilizations are waiting for us to wake up. We can become intergalactic beings, Star Wars, things of that nature, Rick and Morty, when they're, these don't just come from, TV and random stuff like that.
They're telling us
they didn't just make that up. They're showing you in film, so you go, oh, that's TV. No, that's reality.
You will
that's
never
real.
believe it because you saw it in the movie.
Yeah.
It's just a movie.
And that's why I tell people The Matrix is a documentary.
Mm.
That it was a film based upon reality.
Mm.
And one thing I can quote from that movie is the fact that people go, or in that movie it goes, um, when Morpheus is talking to Neo and he goes, you see the system. What do you see? Carpenters, lawyers, doctors, stuff like that. And these same very people are going to fight to what? Protect this system. So even though you got people like me and you trying to spread awareness, you're still going to have those that's going to fight to remain.
They're in the comment section. You think they're a bot.
Yeah.
They're like so indoctrinated into the system that they will fight. And it could, you know what's crazy? It could be your own family.
It could be your family.
Your best friends. You try to tell them shit like, man,
You're what?
You starting to lose it, ain't you?
The next
Like,
thing you know, they're not hitting you up to hang out no more.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Weird. And they're telling everybody else you doing some weird shit. It's like you weird because you ain't asking the questions. You ain't trying to figure this shit out.
You just want to go back to the club.
Exactly. You just want to be a part of the club. That's it. You don't want to be outside, an outsider. You want to be in there. You want to be cool. You want to be popular.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool and all, but I want to be popular for something that mattered.
Exactly.
I don't. It's just like with you.
Exactly.
I agree with you. I don't want to be popular for conforming. I want to be popular because they're like, yo, that dude was standing for something real, and he stood up for that. And other people stood up behind him or beside him. Mm-hmm. And they stood up together. Mm-hmm. And that's what changed. That's what we're here for. Like you went deep into, you and why you have this message. I feel like a lot of people have been sent here for a reason. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, we all were sent here for a reason.
Whether you believe it or not.
Whether you believe it, you don't have to believe in God. It's just in the Bible. Like whatever you want to believe in, you can believe in anything. But it's still the truth. It's still what it is, whether you want to accept it. And I'm not saying I just all-knowing. I'm just saying I believe that we are put for a reason.
Yeah.
But the problem is most people don't remember the reason.
At all.
At all.
Because you want to know what the system operates off of? Amnesia. Amnesia.
Amnesia.
Because guess why? You can't remember the life that you had before this one.
Exactly.
You come here.
You come back into this
wiped.
World. You don't even know if you were from this world.
Exactly.
Originally.
Exactly.
You could have came here from a different world. But why is there so many people coming here now? Because we are transitioning into a new world.
Exactly.
Like we told y'all, it's time to make that decision. Do you want to be on the side of good or the side of evil? Do you want to get taken with the devil, with Satan, with whatever name, Baal, Moloch, whatever name you want to put on him? Do you want to go with him when he loses his battle? Or do you want to go with God? Your choice.
Love.
Love. The only way to defeat evil and hate is love.
Mm-hmm.
You got evil, you got love. Mm-hmm. You got hate, you got love. Mm-hmm. It's like these are the different sides. If you're good, then you love. If you're bad, then you hate. That's it. And we all are both. It's all both within us.
Yin yang.
Yin and yang, right?
And what I tell people too is we're plagued in darkness right now. But what if people realize that each and every one of us was a light bulb? Right?
It's about how bright of a light bulb are you going to be.
Yeah.
What wattage?
Yeah. Are you going to burn low?
Yeah.
Or are you going to burn bright?
It's your choice.
Your choice. What you going to do with it?
You're going to be black or like off, like blackness, no light.
Non-existent. Oblivion.
Are you going to shine light or are you going to be in the darkness? It's your choice. And how bright are you going to shine? You decided to shine bright when you went to the airport. I just want to commend you on that. I want to say that I have the utmost respect for what you did. You stood for something in a time where people were standing for nothing. Yeah. And I feel like all the people in the world can agree with me. Mm-hmm. Well, that are woken to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. You were right, and what you did, it was an act of courage. Mm-hmm. Okay, you went to jail for 12 days, didn't even know you were viral. Mm-hmm. You did something that I personally, I feel like the world needed that. Mm-hmm. Okay, the whole world will agree, like anybody will agree that the world needed that, and we need more of that. Mm-hmm. Standing up for a cause. Mm-hmm. This is a time, if there ever was a time,
If there ever was a time to fight for anything, now is that time.
Now's that
You
time.
don't need to wait. You don't need somebody to go give me a signal. Because let me tell you, between the millions, because that's what it was, of messages I got to read, everyone is looking for three things: someone to intervene, a savior, or someone to tell them what to do.
Hmm.
So if you're looking for any of those, let me tell you what you can do. And you can, you want me to keep on? You can keep informing yourself with the correct knowledge and the right information, but all these streets need to be filled until accountability is had. Until accountability is had. Period. Because once accountability happens with those files, it's gonna be like a floodgate. It's gonna be a floodgate, and they know that. And they know that. That's the thing. That's why so many revelations happening. They know their time is up.
Their time is up. They've had their time, and more time than we probably know. They've been in control.
249 years.
249 years. Is that since what is that? What year was
The
that?
birth of America.
1776, right? You know, we can do a whole podcast about that. I have a friend of mine named Zay who gets real deep into that.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that there's a lot of it gets deep when we get into that. You know, like what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's been a war that took place,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't even know about it. They don't talk about it in the history books. They think it's like a world war or something.
And then, but one thing I can lead you with that, just based on my knowledge with Billy Carson, is there was a war that took place, and it is depicted in photograph and pictures and stuff, and that's why people can see a picture of Jesus painted, and he's got UFOs flying over it,
Right.
right?
Insane.
And these people driving spacecrafts, right? No difference if, let's just say, I grew you up in captivity, right? You were my child, right? Just use this as an analogy, really quick. I raised you in confinement, right? And I allowed you to see the things I wanted you to see, which means your belief was based off of those things I allowed you to see. How were you ever going to get to a point to where you question anything I showed you? And that's a question I want people to answer.
Yeah.
How are you going to get to a point to you're going to question anything I'm showing you? Is it when you become hungry? Is it when you get tired of the abuse? Is it when you get tired of exhaustion? Like, when do you start to question? And that's what's going on in society. When do you start to question based upon how bad you've been used, beaten, lied to, robbed?
What's it going to take to ask the questions required right now? Was it the Epstein files? No. Was it the UFO disclosure? No. Was it 9/11? Like everybody had their awakening point
Mm-hmm.
in their life. Was it COVID? If you didn't wake up during 2020, then you are in a hibernation. You need to wake up. But how many people like were already woken up? I know I was when that shit went down. I was like, man, I ain't taking no shots,
No.
I'm not even taking a test.
I fought my job tooth and nail. And at that time, I was a school bus driver working for a school district.
Oh wow!
And so, considered, I was like a government employee, if you can say. I fought them tooth and nail, and I said, guess what? I'm going to keep clocking in, keep coming to work until you fire me. Did they fire me?
They did?
No.
No.
Because
they need employees.
It was illegal.
Oh.
Because people need to understand is your job has no business in your medical history.
I'm telling you. But they tried it.
and they tried it.
I could go
And I
crazy.
told my job, you fire me, I'm going to see you in court.
Yeah, yeah,
I continued working.
yeah.
I was working every day. I quit on my own because I was like, I'm ready to go drive motor coaches. I'm ready to elevate from school buses to motor coaches. So I'm leaving y'all on my terms.
Right.
But I'm not leaving you because you told me to go take a shot that just came out of thin air and no one know where it came from. And it's apparently supposed to cure a disease from a deadly virus that was snatching everybody up out of here, but you can't cure cancer.
And not only that,
Huh.
like, is this even a real virus? Is this even a real pandemic? Because where'd the flu go that year? I feel like we just had. I mean, this is my opinion, no medical advice, but I just feel like we just had a bad case of the flu. I mean, and not no disrespect to people who lost their life, but it's like,
That was, I'm going to chime in real quick
yeah,
because they glorified older people during that time.
they did.
But we all know older people are already immune compromised. They're
Right.
old, so they can't fight bacteria and diseases like someone younger.
Yeah,
Someone like I caught COVID.
yeah,
But guess what? I knew enough about my immune system to know that my immune system knows that once it deals with something, I know who you are. So you come back, I'm going to whoop your ass. Right?
Yeah,
That's called
exactly.
natural immunity.
There you go.
Right.
Mm.
So I chose to go what I knew that my body can do.
Yeah.
Versus what the pharmaceutical companies
Yeah,
wanted me.
and that's facts. I felt the same way. I said, if I catch it, I'm gonna fight it. I'm gonna win, and then I ain't gonna catch it again. What was I doing? Vitamin
Caught
C.
COVID one time.
You see, I didn't even catch it, bro. What if I did? I didn't know. I had vitamin C, vitamin D, echinacea. Like, I was out in the sun. I was not and I had other. I can't remember, like black seed oil. I was taking all that, but I was already taking that stuff. I take that stuff. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? So I was ready. If I caught it, I ain't know.
Right.
But I said that I'm not gonna wear a mask. I'm gonna just be out. I mean, if I'm required to, I'll respect you. But I mean, I'm not gonna be like driving my car with a mask on. I know I'm not doing that. You know what I mean?
Looking goofy.
I know, right? But I mean, I will wear it if you told me to do it to enter the building. But I'll respect you. But I'm not. I'm not wearing it because I'm not in fear of it.
Exactly.
Let me get it. I'm gonna fight it, and I'm gonna get out. And then round two, if there's a round two, won't be as bad. But I didn't even get it.
And then statistically, look and see who died from COVID. Immune compromised people.
Exactly.
People
And
who
we
are
don't
already
even know
battling
if that's
stuff.
what they died from, because a lot of people were in a car accident being
Label it COVID.
COVID.
Because guess why?
They get
Doctors
paid.
was getting checks.
Exactly.
Right. See, that's why everything that's going on. Were you morally? Where's your integrity? Are you going to sell out over some money, or are you going to stand with humanity?
100%.
Because one of the people who reached out to me was a surgeon
Oh.
when all that stuff happened, and she was telling me how everyone's always worried about their patients and doing the best for their patients, but she can't seem to talk to anyone about the Epstein files.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
Nobody wants to talk
And
about it.
not only that, how many celebrities spoke about the Epstein files?
One.
And which one is that?
Cardi B.
Cardi B.
She did.
She did.
She's on a world tour right now. And shout out to Cardi B. If you see this, Cardi, let me tell you, I was blinded for a long time by someone who was against her. And that ties into like Barb shit.
Yeah.
But she's authentic.
Yeah.
As someone who has a platform like her, high up there, you got millions seeing you. You making all this money. Thousands are pulling up to you to your concert. You're on the hottest tour right now. And you decided when the Homeland Security went against her, because that's how it started. Homeland Security made a tweet about her. And she said, y'all worried about all that, but y'all ain't talking about these Epstein files.
Ooh. Wow. I did not know
I gave her for the longest time, I thought it was a certain somebody, I can't even mention the name, that was highest selling, best female rapper of all time. But you know what? When you let your integrity slip, that shit don't mean nothing. It's
Wow.
about where you stand for with the people.
When it matters.
When I saw that lady take that stage with Donald Trump,
you knew something wasn't right. And then and look, and Cardi's on the other side of it. She's
Yeah.
speaking the truth. I didn't know that, and that's good to know because
Yeah.
from my experience, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm glad that she did. But the fact that nobody else is just sad.
And that lets you know who is complicit.
Who is complicit?
Because
and it's almost like 100% rate.
All these celebrities know. All of them.
They know.
Beyonce, why are you so quiet? She's quiet because her man's alleged in those files.
Exactly.
With Harvey Weinstein.
And it's like, and just like with okay, if Jay-Z's complicit, then how is Beyonce not? Another example.
Mm-hmm.
Hillary Clinton never met Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 12 times.
Mm-hmm.
Where was Hillary? She wasn't there? She wasn't home? Like, where you at?
She must have been in a little beauty hall.
She must have been in a beauty hall. She was getting her hair done.
Yeah, right.
12 times.
She was too busy eating the goddamn $16.5 million they spent on lobster.
What were you doing, Hillary? Where was when Jeffrey came through? You never met him?
Matter of fact, what were you doing when he was getting a little sloppy toppy?
Exactly. What was really going on?
You didn't have your husband skin tight in the leash. You let fame change all of that?
Exactly. That's crazy.
What I want to get refresh. What would you just say that again?
I was saying, like, I'm being in, the camera cut off again, but being an interracial couple, there's so much judgment on social media because, if it was like two white people or two black people or two Asian people, whatever, pranking each other, people will have nothing to say. But because we're interracial, now you're so evil. You're a bad person.
DNA.
You're treating a black woman, a black queen.
DNA. Because DNA is something tribal. And I say tribal for a certain reason. Because it's passed down through generations. So the descendants of slaves and the descendants of masters, what took part during that is a part of us. That's why you see so many people all over the place when it comes to that. But what I want to tell people when it comes to whether slavery, masters, colonization, what this country did, all of that, is if you can talk to people who can acknowledge history, understand that, know what took place, but they're not harming you, you need to let it go. And I don't mean it in a sense you need to forget about your history. You should always be informed on your people and where you came from. You should know your history. This is the only way you can formulate conclusions and reasonable solutions.
Right.
But the same people we're living amongst, unless they're showing you that type of history, there's no reason why you have to hate or fear or be against them. And that's what's also plaguing the world is the fact that so many people are conditioned to do so. Make a choice. Left, right, red, blue, up, down. Like it's a choice. You have to pick a side.
Separation is.
But when one thing I want to tell people is like you just need to go where you resonate. And if you're somebody who resonates to want to hurt people, go and face your consequences. If you're somebody who wants to do better, go and do better. But every reaction has a consequence and a repercussion. So people are going to do what they want to do, but when it comes to like judgmental people and keyboard warriors and people who just observe, most people are egotistic. You have to understand that, right? So they're going to go based off what they've trained and what they know. So if 9/11 taught me to hate Muslims, I'm going to hate Muslims.
Right.
Right.
That was the programming.
But if I looked at 9/11 and realized, wait a minute, it was the government the whole fucking time.
Did it?
And you just caused me to hate a group of people for nothing?
Exactly, because that's what they wanted. They wanted us to support the war. They wanted us to support what they did after 9/11, and we'll support it if. And that goes back to just say one more thing. Earlier, when we talked about Iran, and we talked about how we're looking for nuclear weapons. Well, that's exactly what happened with Iraq.
Yep.
Okay, the same exact thing. We're looking for weapons of mass destruction. We never found them, which will probably be the case in Iran if we even get to that point. It's all an excuse
Mm-hmm.
because we want to put our central bank in all these countries. Iraq, they didn't have it, now they do. Iran don't have it. Well, if we win, they will. The Federal Reserve will back their money, and it'll continue with the oil being an American dollar. I mean, bro, I'm telling you right now, we could have a podcast for like 8 hours right now, but I'm gonna cut it off here. If y'all want a part two, please comment below. I know they're gonna want a part two, and I would love to give it to them. You know, like if we like my chip's about to run out of space. If they weren't, we were gonna finna go for another hour.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing conversation,
Of course.
and I
It
told you
was.
how I felt about what you did
Right.
already, and that's how I feel. And I
Right.
feel like keep spreading that.
That airport moment was a time and a wake up call for people to understand, hey, we got something that we need to face. And if we just let this slip by, if we act like it's normal, if we act like this is another day in the ballpark, your integrity gonna slip. You might not go to a place after this life that's gonna be great because this is a morality check. This is a
Test.
moral check.
If you believe in Judgment Day, well,
This is it.
this is it.
This is it. And what comes and bursts from it. But it's time for a stand. It's time. These people need to be held accountable no matter who you are, no matter if you're Republican, Democrat, no matter if you're black or white, no matter if you're up or down,
Male or female,
male or female,
doesn't matter.
don't matter.
Young, old, like everybody got to stand together. Christian, not. It's not even about religion. It's about standing up and doing what's right.
What's right? Morally right.
Morally.
Humanity right.
Right for our entire humanity.
Yeah.
If we continue to let people like this control us and get away with it and put it in our face, hey, we're doing this, guys. Here you go. And then we're gonna just be like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, nah. But what's the? They got a new show on Netflix. Then that shit that's number one. I'm gonna watch it. Oh, I don't care about the Epstein files.
Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl's on. What you mean? What you mean?
Grammys. Oscars.
The Oscars is on. We don't care about none of that shit y'all talking about. Like, if that's how we're going to be, if we're going to be distracted by the Coliseum forever, if we don't stand for nothing, we fall for everything.
Everything.
And that's what we cannot do.
No.
The information's here. You said it a lot of times. You are only going to be judged by what you know. It's the karmic retribution.
Karmic.
They're going to show us.
Wow, bro.
Karmic
Hold
retribution.
on. With that word. Google that word.
If you
Google
don't know
that word.
why would
Karmic
they do the Epstein
retribution.
files? Why would they tell
Woo!
us all this stuff? Because they want to get it. They're trying to unload their karma. Why? Because we're trying. There's powers greater than us who are ready to fight for us. But if you are taking in these Epstein files and you're ignoring it, you're allowing their karma to be accepted. Because you continue to live, you accept it. You are giving them the pass on their karma. That's how karmic retribution works.
Karmic retribution.
The Simpsons, all these movies where they show us and we ignore it.
The fact that you mentioned that terminology just made me like snap and realize how much you really truly know inside that little mind of yours.
Oh,
It did. Whoa. Because that's not a word that's repeated often. A lot of people don't even put those two words together. A lot of people don't even know what those two words mean together because those are two separate words. Karmic and retribution are two separate words, but when you put them together, it makes a whole different meaning. And
different meaning.
I just used those words the other day, And it's just crazy to just know that. But
So we'll get into that on the next episode. Karmic retribution. Why do they release the Epstein files? If they give us all this information and then we accept it and we move on with our life, it's almost like they've been forgiven for these sins.
correct. And that's not the case.
That can be the case if we stand for nothing, right?
Correct.
So that's the whole message here. What can we do? We cannot allow them to have retribution for their karma.
No.
Because their karma, their sins are greater than, like, you don't know anybody who sinned like they did. Like, if you do, then who the hell you chilling with? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know nobody doing that shit. I hope not. So we cannot allow them to get away with it. It's just like the judge, the jury, the trial. It's going on. We are the jury. We are the judge, because the judges, what happened to Hillary and them on there, like, ain't nobody indict nobody. So there is no judge. There is no jury. There is no trial. That's our job. Like,
Judge,
we got to
jury,
start reading
executioners.
exactly. And that's how it comes down to. We got to read the Constitution.
Yeah.
The
And it said what we need to do when we're dealing with the tyranny government. It said what we need to do when we're dealing with a system that is not doing anything for us. It said what we need to do when we're tired.
And what it said doesn't involve Netflix. It doesn't involve forgetting. It involves the type of stuff that you said at the airport. To stand up and make a difference. It said that we have to stand up. We have to overthrow that. And I don't want to. That's gonna. That's crazy to say, but we have to create. We have to hold them accountable and not necessarily overthrow the government, but overthrow this ideology of what is being accepted by our leaders.
Let me say this. Humans were never meant to be controlled.
Yeah.
We were always meant to be free.
Mm.
And that ties into what God and love is.
Mm.
He wanted to see what we can do. That's why he gave us free will. He wanted to see what we can do with free will. Is that not
That's
the teaching
it.
of the Bible?
That's it.
God gave us free will to see. But then we come into a world that's controlled.
Exactly.
So is it free will?
Does free will exist? Honestly, the word free will does not exist because that would say that it's 100%, because free means free. When I go to Dollar General, if it's free, it's free. It should be $0, right? But if it's 50 cents, then that's not free. So we have will.
But we don't have free will.
We don't have free will. And that's because
we have what I like to call controlled will. Because everything that we do is already decided by somebody else.
Everything that you do is because
whether if you want to,
you saw them do.
whether if it's as low and minute as flipping on a light switch. Someone invented that light switch for you to do that same action.
And you saw your mom do it. She flipped it up. You knew up was on. That's it.
And down was off.
That's it. You were programmed that. Just like the language you speak. You said it earlier about the frequencies of the language. When you speak that language because that's what you were taught. So was that a decision you made? Did you decide to speak English? No, because that's where the
what you grew up in.
That's what you grew up in. Culture is part of the programming.
Yep.
Like the way you live, like depending on, what, like your family.
We got all these regions, all these countries, and they're all living differently.
Exactly.
But we're what? We're all human.
Right. So free will.
That's a strong disagreement with the balance of nature.
Mm.
Nature is fluent and flows with one. That's why the bees do what they do, the birds do what they do, the ants do what they do, the deer do what they do, the bears do what they do. There's no imbalance in nature. The only imbalance occurs human influence. When we disturb nature, when we fuck with things.
We're the ones who imbalance it.
We are the ones who imbalance it. We're the ones who pollute. We're the ones who kill off bees because we're mowing our lawns.
So I'll leave y'all with this question: are humans an invasive species? Because that's sure
Yes.
what it sounds like.
Yes. We're the foreign ones.
Word might be the foreign ones.
We're the foreign
We're the
ones.
foreign ones. So before we get out of here, go ahead and tell them where they can follow you at, where they can find you at.
You can follow me on TikTok at Navy Sway, NavySwae. I'm on all platforms like that, all of them. And if you don't see it like that, no spaces, that ain't me.
Yeah, there's a lot of people trying to be you.
Yes.
Look, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. I definitely appreciate this conversation.
Of course,
I feel like
man.
we were on the same type of
Of course,
frequency.
wavelengths.
Same wavelengths, bro.
Yeah.
100%. Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate you.
Yes, sir. So we'll see y'all next episode.